Excuse me. Oh my gosh. Hey. Let's get rid of this banner thingamajobber. I think I'm like one day away from feeling completely 100%. I just got little teeny bits of sickness left. This one's been a doozy. It's been like almost 2 weeks. Good afternoon. Let me see here. Yeah, so I heard the call came from inside the house, the 911 call. And I guess it's being said that on this press conference, they're going to be releasing some ring cam footage. I don't know if that's true or not. Oh, hopefully you don't have, or you're not getting what I had. It almost felt like a COVID, I swear. This nasty flu they're talking about. I don't know. I felt really weird for a week. Like for 5 or 6 days, I was just like, I don't feel right, but I don't feel sick. I just don't feel normal. And then a week ago yesterday, I woke up with a slamming migraine, and that's when it all started. And I have a pretty kicking immune system too. I'm surprised that I even got that sick, because usually I don't get sick. And if I get sick, it's maybe for like a day, maybe 2. Nothing like this has been. So I don't know, it sucks. I'd like to go straight. I'd like to go straight to this press conference. Maybe if I go to the Idaho Press or KT, probably this will have it. But I was looking. It sucks because there's like a. Where'd it go? There's like a link for it, but you can't click on it. Oh my gosh, did they take it away? It's gone. What? It's gone. Oh wait, no. It's in here. I was kind of out of it last week. I've been in the dark most of the day. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I hope you're not getting my head. It was like I usually don't miss work even if I'm sick, and I had to go home Wednesday at lunch. I was just like, I can't take this. I can't take it. Oh, thank you so much. I didn't want to thank you so much. Oh wow. You're amazing. Thank you. Here, I'll just go ahead and put this in here right now. I'll just go right to it. Let me turn my music down too. Is it too loud, the music? Okay. Let's see. We'll go ahead and light this baby. We'll switch. Well, I guess I got to switch to theater mode after that. Yeah, so I guess you know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Jen. I guess this, I don't know, it's really interesting. They're saying that they don't think the hoodie guy's involved. But the boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, who I think it's Kaylee shares a dog with, there's a lot of talk or suggestions that it might actually, because if the dog was in the property, and they're saying, why wouldn't the dog be making noise if it was a stranger? Which makes absolute sense. Yeah. Yeah, they're the person that they called like a bunch of times. This theory is that this person got upset because the girl was moving to Texas. She just stayed there to show off her new car. I think it was Kaylee. She just stayed there to show off her new car. They think that her and that guy got into an argument and he left upset. That's why there was a bunch of calls to him, and that he waited to come back. He's the one that knew the keypad. He's the one that knew the dog.
Yeah, everybody else is probably taller than I am.
I don't know. We'll see. Thank you so much for this link. I would have been searching for it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause it for about 20 or 30 seconds. That way I'm not actually live. I don't want to disrespect the news organization. So I'm just going to pause it for a little bit, and then we will be on a delay. I still feel like the roommates are involved. It's very odd, isn't it, Jen? It's very odd. All right, I'm going to go ahead and tap it. And let me turn down this music here.
So why don't we chat afterwards a little bit? Okay, we'll do that. A couple of people as well, so needed. Take it right. Okay, so because I'm pretty sure that speakers, yeah.
Oh, there's no closed caption. Especially after, yeah, I know. Yep, it did. They're just not releasing the name. And then I'll just put this up. I wonder how long it's going to take them to get it going. But yeah, there's the family has come out and said that they 2,000% don't feel that he's involved. He's part of the family. But then you get back to there was no noise. If there was noise, it wasn't a dog barking. it was just people sounding like there was a party going on, thumps and stuff, and so they said it wouldn't be nothing for them to put in earbuds to try and get some sleep. But that new thinking about that boyfriend where they share the dog, they said that's the passion that comes into that crime is, they have a dog together. They were in a relationship, and then she's moving to Texas, but she wanted to stay behind to show everybody her new Range Rover. Otherwise, she would have been in Texas already. And then they think that all those calls placed before all of it happened was that there was some kind of disagreement or argument. They were trying to make sure that he wasn't as upset as he was. Who knows what, And then waited a short time and came back, knew the keypad, or knew the layout, knew where everybody slept, knew the dog.
Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Chief James Fry with the Moscow Police Department. The last spelling of my name is F-R-Y. I'd like to introduce Moscow Police Captain Roger Lanier, Colonel Kedrick Wells of the Idaho State Police, University of Idaho President Scott Green, Dean of Students for the University of Idaho, Blaine Eccles, and Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson. This incident has shaken our community, has continued to shake our community. And we continue.
And this is on a delay it's on a delay out of respect for the news channel.
Vigorously pursue the investigation and pursue justice in this case. It is a complex and terrible crime, and it will take some time to resolve. Today, we want to clarify what we know and where we're at in this investigation. Our primary goal is public safety and to get a completion of this case and bring someone to justice. We continue to dedicate all the resources to this investigation. We've had 646 tips received, and all will be processed, vetted, investigated, and cleared. We've done over 90 interviews in this case so far, and the Moscow Police Department is utilizing the assistance from the Idaho State Police, Federation, and Latah County Sheriff's Office. The personnel that has been assigned to this from the Moscow Police, 24 officers and 5 support staff. Federal Bureau of Investigators, we have 22 investigators in Moscow, 20 additional are assigned and located in the Treasure Valley, Salt Lake City, Utah, and West Virginia. We have 2 behavior analysis individuals from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. For the Idaho State Police, we have 20 investigators, a public information officer, ISP forensic services, and a crime scene team. We have 15 uniformed troopers to assist our community to help provide the additional resources for our patrols. Detectives are looking to develop any content that would help us in this event. Anyone who has observed any notable behavior or has any video surveillance or can provide relevant information about these murders, please call our tip line at 208-883-7180. Or you can email the tip line and that is tipline@ci.moscow.id.us. At this time, I would like to introduce Captain Lanier to give you some additional information.
Good afternoon. My name is Roger Lanier. I'm a captain over the Operations Division for the Moscow Police Department.
My last name is spelled Lanier. I just want to first state that this tragic murder has shaken the community. It's been very hard for members of the community, and it's been equally difficult for our officers and for the investigators. We will continue to put all of our resources towards investigating and bringing this to a resolution. Here's what we've determined so far. On the evening of November 12th, Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Mulligan were at a local bar and were later at a food truck in downtown Moscow. They arrived home at approximately 1:45 a.m. on the morning of November 13th. Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were at the Sigma Chi house before also arriving home at approximately 1:45 a.m. Two surviving roommates were also out in the community, and they returned home at approximately 1 a.m. and did not wake up until later that morning. On the morning of November 13th at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was placed to the Whitcomb Dispatch Center reporting an unconscious person. The call originated from inside the residence and was made from the phone of one of the surviving roommates. Moscow Police Department officers responded and located 4 victims, 2 on the 2nd floor and 2 on the 3rd floor. The Latah County coroners conducted autopsies, and detectives have been provided with the results of those autopsies. We know that the autopsies confirmed the identity of the 4 victims, determined the cause and manner of death as homicide by stabbing, and determined that it was likely all 4 victims were asleep during the attack. Some of the victims had defensive wounds, and each victim was stabbed multiple times. There was no sign of sexual assault. Investigators have determined 2 areas of interest within the city and have provided maps which are on our Facebook page and on our website. And these are areas that they have canvassed for additional surveillance video and tips, and have contacted several residents in the areas. The areas are generally south of Taylor Avenue to Palouse River Drive and west of Highway 95. Detectives have also canvassed several other neighborhoods looking for evidence, looking for additional surveillance video, and contacting residents and speaking to them to see if they may have heard or seen something. I want to address several areas of speculation, conjecture, and misinformation that has circulated on social media platforms and otherwise. We do not believe the following individuals are involved in this crime: the 2 surviving roommates, a male seen at the grub truck food vendor downtown, specifically wearing a white hoodie, a private party who provided rides home to Kaylee and Madison in the early morning hour of November 13th. Additionally, the identity of the 911 caller and the 911 call have not been released, so any information out there is speculation about that. Investigators are aware that multiple phone calls from Madison and Kaylee's phone were made to a male subject. Any online reports stating that the victims had been tied and gagged are not accurate. Detectives seized the contents of 3 dumpsters on King Road and searched those dumpsters in an effort to find additional evidence, but nothing of note was discovered. Early in the investigation, local businesses were canvassed in an effort to see if any fixed blade type knives may have recently been purchased. And currently, there are no suspects in custody, and we have not located a weapon. I want to assure you that every investigator involved will continue to put all of their resources and all of our partner agencies' resources into continuing this investigation. We do appreciate the community support. We understand how stressful it is, and we will continue to work through this situation. At this time, I would like to turn the mic over to Colonel Wills from the Idaho State Police.
Thank you, Captain. My name is Kedrick Wills, KEDRICKWILLS, and I serve as the director of the Idaho State Police. And I appreciate your attendance this afternoon as we talk about this horrific, horrific crime. The murders of Ethan, Xana, Madison, and Kaylee are a tragic loss to all of us. Nothing we can do will bring back these young lives. But we have an absolute commitment to working together to solve these senseless murders. And the way that we know how to do that is partnerships. And our partnership with the Moscow Police Department, with the Idaho State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the University of Idaho to bring this issue to a conclusion and bring this to justice is absolute. We continue with Idaho State Police resources here on the ground in Moscow and throughout Idaho. Whatever the needs are, that's what we want to do. And the chief spoke about the Idaho State Police resources that are here, and he spoke about patrol resources. And we have those uniformed troopers here in Moscow and on the campus of the University of Idaho to help people to feel safe and to provide that security to the people that are here, both in the student body as well as in the community at large. And we will continue to do that as long as is necessary throughout this time. In addition, that's in addition to our forensics team that was here, in addition to our investigative team and all the other state police resources. We know that people want answers. We want answers too. As was already mentioned, this is really, really difficult for those investigators, those dedicated professionals who are investigating this crime. And a lot of people have expressed their desire to help. And the best thing that most of people can do to help is to stop with any kind of rumors and just seek official information that comes out of the Moscow Police Department. Anything that we have that we can share from a law enforcement perspective, we will be sharing just as soon as we can, because that's how we think that we can get this to conclusion. Please rely on official sources of information, and please be patient. I understand that everybody wishes that this was solved already, but these things take time. It takes time to work through. You heard the stats of all the tips and everything, the interviews and everything that's been done. This takes time for our investigators to work through. So please be patient as we work through this investigation. We owe this to these young kids, to these young adults. We owe it to them, and we are absolutely dedicated to make sure that happens. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce the University of Idaho President Scott Green.
Scott Green, President, University of Idaho. Last name spelled Green, like the color. First, we continue to extend our heartfelt condolences to the families and friends of the victims. As stated earlier, we want justice and appreciate the increased resources from the Idaho State Police and FBI that have been brought to bear on this crime. We fully appreciate and share the frustration of our students, employees, parents, and community members who continue to push for answers. While we wait for answers in the investigation, we've ramped up our security safety practices and are listening to students and supporting them in any way possible. The University of Idaho's primary focus now is on supporting our students and working to meet their varied needs. The police continue to inform us that they believe this was a targeted attack, but we recognize this is not good enough for some of our students who will want to complete their semester remotely until the person who committed the crime is in custody. We are also hearing that some students want to be back on campus and in Moscow because they gain comfort from the structure of classes and being with their friends and professors. All reactions and feelings are valid, and we all process these tragedies differently. We're asking instructors to plan for both sets of students as we finish the semester. We will be communicating decisions early this week so that families can discuss and plan their individual response over the Thanksgiving break. We learned a lot during COVID, and we have many course delivery options our faculty can deploy to meet student needs. Student and employee safety remain our priority. We have increased security patrols on campus since we were notified of this off-campus incident. We've also benefited from increased Idaho State Police presence on our campus, which we are grateful for. They have been a very visible force, and they will continue this dedicated presence on our campus into the foreseeable future. Importantly, they have also assigned resources to the community since this crime occurred off campus. In addition to the campus-wide precautions being taken, we offer the following safety and security features in our residence halls. We will continue our Safe Walk, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All residence halls are locked 24 hours a day and only accessible by students that live in the building. All guests must be accompanied by a resident of the building. Each residential community has a dedicated resident assistant staff and a live-in full-time resident director to help ensure a safe environment. Every evening, there are resident assistants that are on duty to perform safety and security rounds in their area, including during fall break. Housing and resident life always has at least 2 full-time staff members that are on call to provide support and emergency response 20 hours a day, including over the fall break. And our Learning Center Information Desk Living and Learning Center Information Desk is open 24 hours a day and will be open all of fall break for our students' needs. While we certainly hope there's a swift closure with the arrest of whoever is responsible for this crime, we must also be prepared for all the possibilities, including a lengthy investigation. We must balance safety concerns and the need to grieve, along with the long-term needs of our students and our employees. We're making security our top priority. We are also planning for the very real possibility that some students aren't comfortable returning to campus. We will do our best to meet the needs of all students. Our faculty is working hard over the break to consider alternative delivery methods. We will also continue making counseling services available for all our students and employees as we process our grief. The care and concern for our Vandal family is our primary role, and we take that very seriously. We are a Vandal family. Nothing means more to us than family. And I'd also like to just thank all those for the great outpouring of support we received from the nation. It's been incredible time, and all those who stand in solidarity with us, just know it means a great deal to us. Thank you.
So we're going to open it up at this time to about 8 to 10 questions. We ask that only 1 question is asked per person, please. And I would also like to just see if there's an Argonaut reporter. I think it's only fair to give our student reporter the first shot.
Speak up if you're in the room, if you're from the Argonaut.
That's
Are you from the
pretty
University
cool.
of
They're
Idaho?
allowing the
Is
students
anybody
to.
from the University of Idaho, Argonaut?
That's very cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Ted Williams, Fox News. You all have said that these killings are targeted. Can you share with us why you believe they are targeted killings? And do you know who, if any, of the victims were the actual targets of the killings?
As we stated earlier in the previous press release or press conference, we believe they're targeted because we take a totality of all the circumstances that we're looking at. Do we know any one person that it was targeted? We're not able to say at this point in time due to our investigation, but we still believe that. But we, like I said, we take a totality of everything that we're looking at.
Chief Glenn Mosley, Idaho Public Radio here in Moscow. On the resources, do you have the resources that you need?
We do have the resources. It is an incredible outpouring of what we receive from the Idaho State Police and from the Federal Bureau of Investigations and Latah County. Anything we ask for is given. So at any time, if we need additional, all I have to do is call the colonel and he will provide that. He's already guaranteed me that. And I know the FBI has said the same thing.
Hi, Emma Epperly from the Spokesman Review. I know you've said you're not going to release who the 911 caller was, but was the killer the 911 caller?
I will tell you no.
Can you clarify, you said it was made from the roommate's phone, but you didn't say the roommate made the call. So did the roommate make the call on the roommate's phone, or can you clarify if it was another individual made the call?
Actually, if we could just go to this one first. And
Well, it's the follow-up, that's why I wanted to.
so what I'll say to that is it was made from the roommate's call or phone, excuse me. And we're not going to divulge who made that call to be, it's part of our investigation still. And when we get ready to release that, we will.
Hi, Christina Corbin with Fox News. The male subject whom the women called, has he been ruled out as a suspect or person of interest?
Everything that we have taken from those calls, we have followed up on, we've cleared, and we believe that there's no connection there.
Gotti Schwartz, NBC News. Just following up on the 911 call, you said that you don't believe that's the killer. Can you conclusively rule out the person that called 911 from inside the home as a suspect in this case?
Can you go ahead and just ask that one more time, please?
The person that was inside the home that called 911 that was not one of the roommates. Can you conclusively rule that person out as a suspect at this point?
I don't think I said that it wasn't one of the roommates. I said that it was used with the roommate's phone.
I believe somebody asked if that was the killer and you said no.
No, that's correct.
Was there someone there other than the two roommates when police responded to the home?
So will you clarify that for me?
You're not confirming a roommate called 911, but you used the roommate's phone. So was there someone else at the home other than those two roommates?
There was other friends that had arrived at the location.
How many? And was that a man as well?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure at this time, to be quite honest.
Do you guys have any idea if the killer's still within the community, or are you looking outside the community for the killer in terms of their physical location?
We are looking everywhere that evidence would lead us. I can't say if the person's here. I can't say what community the person's in. We're utilizing every resource we can to make that location of that individual. And part of that is the safety of our community is paramount. And that's why we brought in the resource that we brought in to keep our community as safe as we can.
Being so close to the border, does that make it kind of automatically an interstate investigation? Can you comment on that?
I cannot comment on that. I'm not even aware.
If you look in Washington at all, I guess,
We're looking everywhere. I'm going to take two more questions.
Do you still believe this attack was done by one perpetrator? And if so, how does one individual kill 4 people at night and not wake up the other 2 roommates?
Our investigation will continue to look at all avenues of that investigation. I cannot disclose any of that information. I don't even know that information at this point in time, and that's why we're continuing to investigate.
you don't know how this happened without the other 2 roommates hearing it or waking up or noticing?
We do not. One more question.
Hi, Angela Palermo, Idaho Statesman. In the press release yesterday, you confirmed that the victims were found on the 2nd and 3rd floors of the home. Can you say which of the victims were found where?
I'm not going to go ahead and disclose that information. They were found on the 2nd and 3rd floor. And that's as far as we're going to go with that part of the investigation too, because all those key pieces do come to play later. So we do thank you. We thank you for meeting with us. We thank you for helping get information.
Ooh, you said
out,
all those
and
key
I can assure
pieces.
you, we will continue to work hard. We will continue to do everything we can to solve this. So thank you.
Is this related to any animal mutilation?
Are you even talking about this person will strike again? In terms of victimology, do you think the victims might be connected?
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, we're definitely going to go over these questions again because what he said at the end there, I need to listen to this with a fine tooth comb. Is there more people that are going to talk? It doesn't look like it.
Okay, are we down? Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Jen, for that link. I appreciate that. All right, we're going to check Alexandra's Twitter here. I'm interested to see what she types. And if you don't follow her, you should, because it's a lot of good updates. There were other friends that arrived at the location. So that's very interesting. Killer was not the 911 caller. Male subject, woman called. We believe there's no connection there. Believe the crime was targeted because of the totality of the crime. Cannot say if one person was targeted due to the investigation. James Fry said they have received 646 tips that have been processed, as well as 90 interviews asking for anyone with video. Hopefully you would think that by now, if there was video, they would have got it from, they would have said, hey, I have some video. I mean, it's been a week now. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I think somebody would have by now. Let's see, asking. Okay. Yeah, we're going to go through that again, for sure. Sounds like all four. Yeah, it's really crazy to know that the 911 call came in from inside the house, but what I still am confused about is, was it somebody that walked in the door? I mean, why would you use a deceased person's phone to call 911? I mean, most people have their own phone, Wouldn't you like see it and then back away and go outside and call? You're not, I don't know. I just don't see, and most people lock their phones. So why, how could you, I don't know that I gotta listen to that again. So I'm going to replay it. I'm going to save this to my list here too.
Okay. So, yeah, I think everybody else is probably taller than I am.
It was one of their survivors' phones. Okay. So, because I thought they said it was one of the survivors, but then later on, I thought that they said that it wasn't one of the survivors that placed the call. But I need to listen to this again. She says, yes. Thanks for hanging out. All right. Let's see. I think it was about right here, maybe.
The University of Idaho's primary focus now is on supporting our students and working to meet their varied needs. The police continue to inform all those and
Questions we asked.
all those who stand in solidarity with us. Just know.
All right, let's listen to this with a fine-tooth comb.
So we're going to open it up at this time to about 8 to 10 questions. We ask that only one question is asked per person, please. And I would also like to just see if there's an Argonaut reporter here. I think it's only fair to give our student reporter the first shot.
Speak up if you're in the room, if you're from the Argonauts.
Mayor? Are you from the University of Idaho Argonaut? Is anybody from the University of Idaho Argonaut? Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Ted Williams, Fox News. You all have said that these killings are targeted. Can you share with us why you believe they are targeted killings? And do you know who, if any, of the victims were the actual targets of the killings?
As we stated earlier in the previous press release or press conference, we believe they're targeted because we take a totality of all the circumstances that we're looking at. Do we know any one person that it was targeted? We're not able to say at this point in time due to our investigation, but we still believe that. But we, like I said, we take a totality of everything that we're looking at.
Chief Glenn Mosley, Idaho Public Radio here in Moscow. On the resources, do you have the resources that you need?
We do have the resources. It is an incredible outpouring of what we received from the Idaho State Police and from the Federal Bureau of Investigations and Latah County. Anything we ask for is given. So at any time, if we need additional, all I have to do is call the colonel, and he will provide that. He's already guaranteed me that. And I know the FBI has said the same thing.
Hi, Emma Epperly from the Spokesman Review. I know you've said you're not going to release who the 911 caller was, but was the killer the 911 caller?
I will tell you no.
Can you clarify, you said it was made from the roommate's phone, but you didn't say the roommate made the call. So did the roommate make the call on the roommate's phone, or can you clarify if it was another individual who made the call?
Actually, if we could just go to this one first. And
Well, it's the follow-up, that's why I wanted to.
so what I'll say to that is it was made from the roommate's call or phone, excuse me. And we're not going to divulge who made that call to be, it's part of our investigation still. And when we get ready to release that, we will.
Hi, Christina Corbin with Fox News. The male subject whom the women called, has he been ruled out as a suspect or person of interest?
Everything that we have taken from those calls. Actually, if we could just go to this one first. And
Well, it's the follow-up, that's why I wanted to.
so what I'll say.
The women called, the male subject whom the women called, has he been ruled out as a suspect or person of interest?
Everything that we have taken from those calls, we have followed up on, we've cleared, and we believe that there's no connection there.
Gotti Schwartz, NBC News. Just following up on the 911 call, you said that you don't believe that's the killer. Can you conclusively rule out the person that called 911 from inside the home as a suspect in this case?
Can you go ahead and just ask that one more time, please?
Yeah, the person that was inside the home that called 911 that was not one of the roommates. Can you conclusively rule that person out as a suspect at this point?
I don't think I said that it wasn't one of the roommates. I said that it was used with the roommate's phone.
I believe somebody asked if that was the killer and you said no.
No, that's correct.
Was there someone there other than the two roommates when police responded to the home?
So will you clarify that for me?
You're not confirming a roommate called 911, but used the roommate's phone. So was there someone else at the home other than those two roommates?
There was other friends that had arrived at the location.
How many? And was that a man call?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure at this time, to be quite honest.
Do you guys have any idea if the killer's still within the community, or are you looking outside the community for the killer in terms of their physical location?
We are looking everywhere that evidence would lead us. I can't say if the person's here. I can't say what community the person's in. We're utilizing every resource we can to make that location of that individual. And part of that is the safety of our community is paramount. And that's why we brought in the resource that we brought in to keep our community as safe as we can.
Being so close to the border, does that make it kind of automatically an interstate investigation? Can you comment on that?
I cannot comment on that. I'm not even aware.
Do you look in Washington at all, I guess, for?
We're looking everywhere. I'm going to take 2 more questions.
Do you still believe this attack was done by one perpetrator? And if so, how does one individual kill 4 people at night and not wake up the other 2 roommates?
Our investigation will continue to look at all avenues of that investigation. I cannot disclose any of that information. I don't even know that information at this point in time, and that's why we're continuing to investigate.
You don't know how this happened without the other 2 roommates hearing it or waking up or noticing?
We do not. One more question.
Hi, Angela Palermo, Idaho Statesman. In the press release yesterday, you confirmed that the victims were found on the second and third floors of the home. Can you say which of the victims were found where?
I'm not going to go ahead and disclose that information. They were found on the second and third floor. And that's as far as we're going to go with that part of the investigation too, because all those key pieces do come to play later. So we do thank you. We thank you for meeting with us. We thank you for helping get information out. And I can assure you, we will continue to work hard. We will continue
Wow.
to do everything we can.
What did you completely miss? Because I completely missed a few things. But I freaking wrote all this shit down. Wow. They don't know who it is. They have no idea. The dumpsters that they searched, there's nothing in there. There's no weapon. There's no clothing. They don't even know if he's inside or outside of the community. What's weird is he said he's not saying who was on what floor because all those key pieces come to play later. The male subject who got all those phone calls, they followed up on him and they believe that he's not connected. That's an update. They're not telling you who placed the 911 call. What's interesting is they said that they don't know why yet those 2 roommates were still alive when the other ones weren't. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? They still don't know why the two roommates were still alive and the other ones were murdered. That's the biggest whoa out of the whole thing there. What do you think, Jen? And then they also said that the guy in the hoodie was not a suspect. The two roommates were not a suspect, so that's even, they're not suspects, but he doesn't know why they were still alive and the other ones were murdered. And it wasn't the private ride home. So to me, it sounds like they're not saying shit until the police have some sort of idea, because maybe this person did threaten them. Maybe not them, but maybe they said, you know, I know where your family lives. So even though they're, you know, even though the roommates are protected in some fashion, maybe he threatened them with their family. It may be someone the roommates know. They may not know the person did it. What do you mean? They ruled out, it had to be somebody else then, because the guy in the hoodie, which was their neighbor, they said they do not believe he had anything to do with it. He doesn't believe the private ride home had anything to do with it. He doesn't believe the two roommates that were still alive had anything to do with it. So who could it be? That's the question. Who could it be? They're not releasing the 911 call, and they're not releasing who made the call. So someone that isn't even being talked about, Jen? Like somebody from the party or something? What's weird, this is what's weird, is they say that they left Ethan and Xana, if that's how you pronounce your name correctly. It says they left the party at 9, but they didn't get home till 1:45. So where were they in between those hours? And I missed it. When did they say that? When did they say that the other two girls got there from the grub truck? And that the two roommates that were alive got home at 1. And they believe that they were all asleep during the attack. And then the 911 call was made at 11:58, unconscious from inside. Why would you call for an unconscious if there's that much blood? For example, you have a friend who kills your roommates for some unknown reason, but you weren't where the person killed them. But no assault. So it wasn't a sexual crime. So they got home a few minutes after the other two. Yeah, it wasn't a sexual crime, so do you think it was like somebody that the two girls were hanging out with, and then if you want to come up on panel, Jen, you can. If you want to explain what you think about the whole, how it went down. It's really odd. Like, why do the cops not know why? You know, they're still trying to figure out why the two. Oh, I'm sorry. What's wrong? I'm still trying to understand why they said that they don't know. They're still trying to figure out why the two girls were alive when the other roommates were deceased. That's really weird to me, especially if they're saying that they do not believe that they're involved in the killing, but yet you don't know. Just want to say, hey, what's up, Kitty? I hope the plane ride went okay. And since you're on, I know everything went safely. Yeah, we just watched the press conference, so if you want to see the press conference, if you haven't seen it for the 4, you can always just come back on a replay, and it's right in the beginning. Cool. Yeah, if you want to see the press conference, you can just go to the beginning of the stream on replay whenever. I hope you enjoy your time. Yeah, it's just really weird. They were targeted because of the totality. And they're not able to say if it was about one person or not. The call was made from the roommate's phone. And they're not telling who because it's part of the investigation. The male subject who got all the phone calls, they followed up on, and they believe there's no connection. Other friends arrived at the location, not sure how many. That's weird too. Before they got there or after? I don't know why that wasn't part of the answer. They can't say whether he's inside or outside of the community, and they're looking everywhere. They're looking into and still trying to figure out why, but they will not disclose why the two roommates were still alive. And they're not saying who was on what floor, because all those are key pieces that come to play later. No, I get you, Jen. You're good. I got you a little bit ago. I'm sorry you got... Ugh. You're good, though. I think the roommates know the person who killed them, but I don't think the person they know the person did anything. But wouldn't they, gosh, if you're using that kind of blade and you're committing that kind of crime, wouldn't you have some kind of something on your hand? Or maybe they were just using gloves? Why do you think it took place? If it was a friend, it wasn't a sexual crime, so it wasn't because they liked or wanted them, right? Because if they did, they probably would have did something else, right? What do you think it was over? I think it has something to do with the cereal, but it was targeted, so that's true. That is true. Hmm. What, like somebody was at the bar or something? Like a mutual? It's a small community. Everybody has to know everybody. I mean, we got some answers with that press conference, but a lot of it just doesn't make sense. It just don't make sense. Let me see here. Crews will be back. Let's see. All right, so let's. Ooh, nice. There's actually a video on Michael Vaughn here. 1 second. Hey, Cherry. Yeah, this was I don't know how long you've been in the stream. Very interesting press conference. I'm going to switch to this Michael Vaughn video. There's something that just popped up.
Their search for Fruitland boy, Michael Vaughn. Crews have been excavating a yard in Fruitland that's only 4 minutes from the Vaughn home. Police believe Michael's remains are there. Michael disappeared from the neighborhood in July of 2021. We'll be sure to update you when we learn more.
What? That's all you had? Come on. That's ridiculous. Let's see. Delivers second press conference, 425. Oh, wow. Oh, we should probably. Yeah, none of it makes sense. I mean, I wrote everything down, went over the press conference. We watched it live. Oh, crap. We watched it live. Here, let me block this real quick. We watched it live, then we watched it again, slowed it down. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know. At least they had a lot of answers, though, for a lot of the stuff people were talking about. You know, the different people, different reasons why this was called or whatever. So at least we got some answers there. It's just very interesting that they still don't know why the roommates were still alive. And they're not saying who was found on what floor, because those are key pieces that will come into play later. Other friends arrived at the location. They don't know how many. I mean, how do you not know? It's a week. And then the three people that we all thought were possibilities, they do not believe that they were involved. So I don't know. I don't know how true it is, but I heard today that friend stole it. No way. I had heard something about that, Jen, that they were using her credit or debit. I did not know that. Holy crap. Maybe that's what Crazy Crime Chick has for us. I'm going to click on her page, see if anybody that's watching isn't following her. There's her page. I'll go ahead and put up her channel link in the description and in the chat. And because this message isn't getting out, she wants creators to get it out. So we're going to go ahead and check this out real quick. So that's her channel. Let's see what she says on here.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Crazy Crime Chick. Let's get into today's video. When you think of Cabo San Lucas, you think of sandy beaches, good food, good drinks, the nightlife. Now, on October 28th, 25-year-old Shanquila Robinson would head out there with 6 of her friends for one of their birthday parties. And unfortunately, Shanquila would never make it back to her hometown in Charlotte, North Carolina, alive. Now, the 6 friends that she would end up going with would be her so-called bestie of 5 years plus, Khalil Cook, Winter Donovan, Elise Hyatt, who they said was invited at the very last minute, Malik Dyer, Nazir Wiggins, who said that he actually arrived the next day on the 29th, and last but not least, Dejanay Jackson. And she is the one that we have seen on the video that I say attack Shanquila. Now, the first night that they arrived, Shanquila would call her mom, Salamandra Robinson. Now, her mother says that she was in good spirits, and she said that they were going to be staying in that evening, and they were actually going to be eating dinner. When she said goodbye and I love you, Salamandra Robinson didn't realize that that would be the last time she ever spoke to her daughter. Because on the very next day, on October 29th, Salamandra would receive a phone call from her daughter's friends. Now, they had told her that Shanquila was not feeling well, that she had actually drank a lot. They told her that she was resting at that time, but that she had thrown up a couple of times. Now, Salamandra was not alarmed by this. She just thought maybe her daughter had drank too much and was a little hungover. She did advise her bestie, Khalil, to make sure that he called her back to keep her updated. And shortly after that, this is when things took a turn for the worse. Salamandra received another phone call from her so-called bestie, Khalil, and he had informed her that ambulance were on the scene and they were trying to revive her daughter. He had stated then that she had passed from alcohol poisoning. And at 3 p.m., 25-year-old Shanquila Robinson would be pronounced dead. Now, her friends would return back home, obviously, with it then that she had passed from alcohol poisoning. And at 3 p.m., 25-year-old Shanquila Robinson would be pronounced dead. Now, her friends would return back home, obviously without Shanquila. her so-called bestie, Khalil, actually went to Shanquila's home and spoke with her mother, Salamandra. He returned her luggage, and once again, to her mother's face, he had told her that she had passed from alcohol poisoning. Now, the family had noticed that Khalil was acting very nervous. He kept pacing back and forth, messing with his beard. And then even on one occasion, he returned with Winter Donovan and Dejanay Jackson. Now, by this time, the family was getting wind that there was a possible fight out there in Cabo. So the sister straight up asked all three of them, was there a fight? And they told her, no, there was no fight at all. Now, keep in mind, at this point, Shanquila's mom, Salamandra, she had already spoken with the Mexican authorities to see what actually happened to her daughter, and they informed her that she did pass from alcohol poisoning. It wasn't until Shanquila's dad, Bernard, called a funeral home where his daughter was at, and he was informed that no, she did not pass from alcohol poisoning. She passed from severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, basically a broken neck and weight. Now, on the video, you can see Dejanay charge at Shanquila and start beating on her. At one point, you hear a guy's voice saying, "Quilla, can you at least fight back?" And Shanquila responds with, "No." Now, we now know that voice is actually Malik Dyer. You can also see a female's hand holding a phone, which looks like she's on a FaceTime call recording this attack. We now know that that is Winter Donovan. Now, her so-called bestie, you can also see him on the video, and he does not do anything to stop this attack on his best friend. Now it is being said that there's actually a second video, and in that video, allegedly, it shows that Winter Donovan grabs Shanquila by the neck and body slams her, and after that, Shanquila does not move. Now, remember Najir Wiggins, the one that said he arrived on the 29th? Well, he's went to his own social media, specifically Instagram, to discuss this event. And it's pretty much him clearing his name. He says when he got there on the 29th, he says that she was in the game room and that she was not responsive. He says that he was told that she had drank too much and she was just resting. He also says that he was with her the whole time, that he was rubbing her head, and he had put music on, trying to tell her to get up and let's go out, but she did not respond, he said. He says that she was alive, though. He also claims that he did not notice the bump on her head when he was rubbing it until the nurse had pointed it out. He does say her eye was red and she had a cut lip. Now, this is interesting because he says he had no idea what happened to her. But then you got to ask yourself, you see your friend, you're rubbing her head, she has a red eye and a busted lip. You're not going to assume she got into a fight. You're not going to ask questions. Now, when Shanquila's dad would see her for the very first time, he would be horrified because she had two swollen eyes, you can see bruising, and her lip was cut. So what happened to Shanquila Robinson, and why was she brutally attacked on this Cabo trip by her so-called friends? There is a video that has been released that people are saying that it is Shanquila's last video uploaded while she was alive. Now, in the video, you can see her walking around the hotel room. She sounds upbeat. She's laughing and joking. She is looking for her friends. And at one point, you can hear her saying something like, "It doesn't take that long to get naked." And then she walks into a room. And before she walks in, you can see her so-called bestie walk in front of her. And then you find all of the friends in this one room. And when she walks in there, the vibe just kind of shifts, it seems. Now, people are wondering, why did she say it doesn't take that long to get naked? But I think when you look at the video, when she says that, and then you see her so-called best friend, he looks like he's either wearing shorts or trunks. So I'm assuming they're probably going to go chill by the pool.
Y'all, it don't take that long to get naked. It don't take that long to get naked, hoes. Where y'all at? She told me I'm gonna keep it hot. You gonna keep it hot? What? I'll keep it hot. I've been in that I don't want to wear because it's cute as fuck. They, what Go said, they croup.
The one that's like mediocre is in my champion. I can't do them.
Now, some of the things that are being said about this particular video online is that people believe that these so-called friends were actually in there conspiring against Shanquila. So since that fight video was leaked, it has now gotten national news, and those 6 friends have now gone private. Some of the phone numbers have been disconnected. Social media accounts are either being privated or deactivated. And remember that so-called bestie, Khalil Cook, he has not spoken to the family since. Now,
Wow, so that one girl, like, after the fight of the video that was released, that one girl went up to her and body slammed her, grabbed her head and body slammed her, and then she didn't move after that. And I think, I apologize, somebody, maybe it was Scottish Queen, had said that there was somebody else that came over there after that fight that was being rotated. This is crazy. And we'll
good
get to
thing
that.
that
We'll get to that link in a second, Jen.
has come from that fight video being leaked is that the FBI Charlotte field office has now opened up an investigation into the death of Shanquila Robinson. Now, the Mexican authorities have also opened up an investigation. It is being rumored online that some of those friends, we don't know which ones, told the Mexican authorities that she passed from alcohol poisoning. And now we clearly know that that was a lie. So in the video,
Wow. So this is what Jen sent me here. Oh, nope.
So, yeah, if you could.
And then we'll get into the update. So basically,
Here's
Shanquila
a link for that
Robinson is a
video.
25-year-old entrepreneur from North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. Her business, she owns a hair business that she does braids for young kids, and she has a fashion line. She has her own clothing, exquisite line, and she's actually very, very successful at her business. Well, she does a lot of traveling. She loves traveling to different beautiful, exotic places with friends and family and stuff like that. Well, unfortunately, on October 28th,
Actually, let me go to her channel real quick, and I'll put her link up in the description as well.
and then we'll get into the update. So basically, Shanquila Robinson is a 25-year-old entrepreneur. She is from North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. She's very successful in 2 of her businesses. She owns a hair business that she does braids for young kids, and she has a fashion line. She has her own clothing, exquisite line, and she's actually very, very successful at her business. Well, she does a lot of traveling. She loves traveling to different beautiful, exotic places with friends and family and stuff like that. Well, unfortunately, on October 28th of last month, she was convinced by one of her friends of 5 years named Khalil to go on a trip to Cabo to celebrate the birthday of, there was 2 individuals who had a birthday. One was Nazir, the other one is allegedly Dejanay. They were celebrating their birthdays for the weekend. They were supposed to stay there for 3 days. They ended up leaving early for a tragedy that happened on the trip. Well, the young lady, Shanquila, talks to her mother. And then when she talks to her mother, guys, she tells her mother that they're going to have a chef come over, have some nice tacos, and they're going to have some fun. Well, a lot of stuff has been leaking out, guys. I already talked about before. There was a video, and you guys have to watch my prior videos to see the actual images, but I'm just trying to go through a quick summary for those who don't know the story. There was a image or video leaked out recently where Shanquila was roaming the villa by herself trying to find these alleged friends. And unfortunately, she found them all in one room. Looks like they were scheming to try to do something horrific to this girl. That's what people are alleging. But more has come out, guys, since then. There's allegations that she paid for the villa for these people. And after she was beat to death by allegedly all three of
Wow.
them.
Paid for it?
Her $10,000. She had a large sum. She had $10,000 that she had on hand, and it's all missing. Her purse is missing. Her credit cards are missing. Her $10,000 is missing. And guess who brought back her suitcase? Khalil. So people are thinking they took her money. Another allegation recently that just came out, guys, is after she was deceased, they took her credit card and they fled that villa with her dead body left in the living room where the maid finds her body. And they take her credit card and they pay for another hotel near the airport using her credit card. That's
What?
an allegation that people are saying. And they use that same credit card to book their flights back to North Carolina. These are just rumors, guys, that keeps coming out. So I'm just bringing it the information that keeps coming out, guys. As we talked about
Wow.
before, we thought that it was just one of the friends
Just
that beat her up,
allegations.
Dejanay, because we saw a video that was leaked showing her beating her profusely, beating Shanquila profusely. But now new information has come out that all three girls that were on this trip beat her while people sat there and videotaped it. And the
3?
final
All
blow
3?
was done by Winter Donovan, allegedly, who grabbed her by the neck, slammed her on the ground, and Shanquila never got up. But guys, there's more to the story. So basically now we found out that she was robbed of $10,000 that's missing. Her credit cards were missing. Her purse was missing. It alleges that Khalil only brought back her suitcases without her money. So people are thinking that he might have been the one to take the money. Who knows, guys? But there's more. Let me tell you more. Every time I think we can take a break from this case, guys, there's so much more. So, this rumor came out recently that if you guys have looked at my previous video today, there was some allegation that came out saying what was the motive behind this brutal murder. And I don't think, guys, that they intended to kill this girl when they got there. I don't think that. I think that they either were jealous of this girl, whatever happened with the hatred towards this girl, they beat her, but they didn't expect for her to die.
That's
But
crazy.
they went way too far and she
You
died.
didn't expect her?
Either way, they were wrong for putting their hands on her in the first place. After she
They
paid
beat
for
the
the
hell
villa,
out
guys,
of
she
her.
paid the whole trip. Allegedly, she paid for the villa. That's what people are saying. Rumors are saying that. And they just, after they beat her to death, leave her dead body there, they take all her money and her credit cards. But anyways, just another review before we get into some juicy stuff. There's more to this story, guys, that I've just found out about. But there is some troll out here, guys. I don't know if this person is true or not, but this person is going around saying the motive behind this brutal beating is because of, and I'm going to read it. This person, Rebecca Brown, you can tell this person doesn't even have a photo. This might be a fake page. It might even be one of the 6 people that put this out. So who knows? But they're trying to leak information out to either justify what they did or try to steer the public in a wrong direction. But what is coming out is they're saying when the truth comes out, you are all going to look stupid as F. Shanquila got effed up because she was trying to set this boy up back home and he got unalived. The girl who beat her up was cousins with the boy and found out about the setup on the trip. That's why Shanquila wasn't fighting back, because she felt guilty. The girl who beat her up had good intentions. SHIT just went left. Now, guys, if you watched my prior video, I just did a video on this earlier. There was another person that gave this same exact variation, but it was different. It was slightly different. The other message that we read, and I'll show you, the one I went over earlier today, it was slightly different. So it looks like there are 2 people out here pushing this new motive behind the beating, because this statement here is a little slight different than the one we just read. We can compare them, but there's
I know, you're right, but that's why I had this link up the whole time. Man. Yeah, you'll have to watch it and just kind of give me the key points. That's crazy. But speaking of switching up, let's see, we're gonna go to this. Back to this Idaho.
I'm Dean Bliss member. Her grades were amazing. She competed with everybody. She loved competing. She was just a highly driven person who had many goals in life. Goals in life. She had an internship that she was offered a full-time position. And we've worked with them, and they've been great with us this whole time. But yeah, she was driven, and she was going to go somewhere in life, and a great member of society. And that's what we wanted.
Yeah, y'all have to be so proud of her. And she was taken away from us far too soon. Can you tell us what the authorities have been telling you? We want to do anything that we can to help you to get justice for your daughter and the rest of the victims. What are they telling you?
They're telling us that there's so much evidence that it's going to take a lot of time to process it all. This wasn't like a pinpoint crime. This person was slaughtered.
Wow, that's why they've been there for 3 days photographing and all sorts of stuff, because there's so much evidence.
That it's going to take a lot of time to process.
You to get justice for your daughter and the rest of the victims. What are they telling you?
They're telling us that there's so much evidence that it's going to take a lot of time to process it all. This wasn't like a pinpoint crime. This person was sloppy. He did whatever.
Ooh.
When I say he, obviously you can't say that. That's just me. But he made a mess, and there's a mess there, and they're going to have to go through that point by point, and that's going to take a lot of time. That's why they reached out to other facilities to help them with that lab work.
Whoa.
We do have a mobile unit on site that they said that they're able to really expedite things with this mobile unit. Hopefully they're reaching out to other DNA processing type companies such as like 23andMe to get involved. They have not confirmed that they have DNA from this person. They just said that they have a ton of evidence. And evidently today with the new task force, the new FBI task force on site.
Wow. I know, me too, Jen.
They said that they were able to pull a ton of evidence from the house today.
Wow. And they were sloppy.
And they're processing that.
So
it just takes time.
Whoa.
Yeah, you know, we've only heard positive stories about your daughter and the other victims.
I'm going to go through that one more time.
Whatever
authorities have been proud. Anything that we can to help you to get
I just want to hear it
justice for
again.
your
Sorry.
daughter and the rest of the victims. What are they telling you?
They're telling us that there's so much evidence that it's going to take a lot of time to process it all. This wasn't like a pinpoint crime. This person was sloppy. He did whatever. When I say he, obviously you can't say that. That's just me. But he made a mess, and there's a mess there, and they're going to have to go through that point by point, and that's going to take a lot of time. That's why they reached out to other facilities to help them with that lab work.
They do have a mobile unit on.
And they said lab work too. Wow, he just pretty much spilled it right there. You're not going to say they were sloppy if you didn't hear it from somebody else. Wow.
On site that they said that they're able to really expedite things with this mobile unit. Hopefully they're reaching out to other DNA processing type companies such as like 23andMe to get involved. They have not
No, it sounds
confirmed
like
that they have DNA this person. They just said that they have a ton of evidence. And evidently today with the new task force, the new FBI task force on site and the FBI, of course, and Idaho State Police, they said that they were able to pull a ton of evidence from the house today.
Wow. Sounds like these parents are offering more
And they're
information.
processing that.
So
It just takes time.
yeah, we've only heard positive stories about your daughter and the other victims
Wow.
out there.
That's crazy.
We couldn't find
That he was
anybody to
sloppy.
say
And
anything
there's so
about
much
it. It's only
evidence.
been that they were givers, they loved everyone on campus. You see the videos on social media of them being so happy. Did y'all have any clue? I mean, there haven't been a murder, and you got
I know you would. That's what I'm saying about like a friend that they don't know who did it. The friend would have to have their hands, unless they were wearing gloves or something. Even if wearing gloves, their hands would have to be messed up somehow. Somehow. So they would have to see their hands. They have to be looking at everybody's hands, number one. It's just so
guys, it sounds since
so
2015.
bizarre.
Did you have any clue that they may be unsafe on the campus? Was there any indication?
Absolutely not. And if they were, we would have told Kaylee to come home immediately. And same with Maddie. Maddie's family is our family. I know we're very close with them. They are not speaking out. They choose not to speak out. And they have asked us to please go ahead and speak on behalf of Maddie. They were best friends from little girls. She was part of our family. Kaylee was part of their family. And absolutely not. Our son went to that college. No, absolutely not.
My daughter was aware of her environment.
Very aware.
She turned her camera on. She would film when she thought somebody was following her out of a mall parking lot or a grocery store. She was very aware that, she was a pretty girl and that, it could attract some problems. So she was alert. She was a streetwise child.
She herself was a web sleuth. Literally through and through. Listen to, which is just so ironic and just so surreal in all of it. Just very, sad for families when she'd hear about this type of stuff happening. Like, Mom, did you hear about that? Or Mom, did you hear about that?
Keep track of it.
And she was very well of her surroundings, very well. I mean, she would think somebody was following her and she would call me and say, Mom, I think there's somebody following me. And I'm like, well, Kaylee, call the police, and then she'd say, oh, never mind. They just turned into 7-Eleven. She was aware, and very aware. And she locks her doors at night.
And you have to be as a female these days. There's so many creeps out there. More and more each day.
She lost her car. Kaylee was home, had just been home. So we are so thankful that she had just been home for a week and a half. She just bought a brand new vehicle for herself, her first vehicle. She had planned a trip. She was planning on backpacking across Europe for the month of January, starting her new job in February with this internship that she had done, wound up offering her a full-time, very well-paid position that she was very excited to take. And she was with us for the last week and a half. She went home Friday to literally go show off her new vehicle. She was like, Maddie has to see my new ride. Like, she has to see this. And she was talking to Maddie the whole time, going back and forth between the car she was buying, and said, I'm not going to tell you. You're just going to see me pull up and wait till you see what I pull up in. And that was Friday. And we spoke to Kaylee on Saturday, and she sent me pictures, a lot of the pictures that are online. And They were both of our girls, and they.
When was the
they were
last
both
time
really
y'all
cool.
spoke? When was the last time? What was that conversation like? Was it just
So
like you described?
Kaylee called me on Saturday. My birthday was earlier in the week, and I didn't get anything for my birthday. Boo-hoo. We were, she was like, it was not a big deal. But Kaylee called me on Saturday and said, Mom, I'll be home on Tuesday, and I'm going to take you out to breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's all on me, and we'll celebrate your birthday. And
Aw.
and I said, well, I don't know if I believe that, meaning she'd pay. But that sounds great, Kaylee. And I'll see you on Tuesday, honey. And then she sent me a couple pictures of her and Maddie. And that was on Saturday afternoon around 3.
Aw.
Have you had the opportunity to talk with any of the victims' family members? I know you all are grieving together.
Only Maddie's. And
It was just over at our house.
we just had Maddie's mother and father here. They were here for a couple, and it was very emotional for us today. That was the first time that we had gotten together. Just sad beyond belief. Just beyond anybody's
What a
worst
video.
night. Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure you can only fathom,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
it's heartbreaking. Maddie was an only child, but like I said, she was our child as well. And even Kaylee, how many siblings she had, she would always say 6. She said 5 sisters and a brother, or 4 sisters and a brother. And that was always Maddie. Maddie was in our oldest daughter's wedding. She said all of my sisters are my bridesmaids, and Maddie was one of those bridesmaids. And it was all of Olivia's sisters, including Maddie. She every time we traveled out of the country or went on vacations, Maddie went with us. So this is both of our girls, and we will never stop looking for who killed them.
We want to do everything that we can do in our power to get justice for your daughter. We keep hearing this name, Jack, and phone calls going back and forth. Can you tell us anything about that?
We love Jack, absolutely love Jack. We stand behind Jack 1,000%. Jack was Kaylee's boyfriend for many years. They just recently broke up. There was no animosity at all. It was a breakup on Kaylee's point. It was not, they still talked every single day. Kaylee just thought that she needed a little break. They were on the mend of getting back together. Kaylee talked to Jack the whole time she was here for that week and a half.
One of her messages, one of her last messages, she reached out to Jack and said, Jack, get back to me. And he didn't. She goes, we share a dog together, which they did. She's like, you need to reach out to me. So
please come over. She was wanting Jack to come over. Jack is not, they're wasting their time with Jack. And Jack is just as distraught as we are. Jack is our family. Jack is 100%, 2,000% our family. And Jack is with us, and we stand behind him 100%. We're supporting him, and we know in our heart and our minds and our.
Well, that's weird. She's saying that she needed a break and they broke up recently, but then they were going to get back together and she was asking him to come back. Isn't that kind of a contradiction in a small way?
Souls, the depths of our souls. Jack is hurting, and Kaylee and Jack would have eventually been married. They would have eventually been married, and they would have eventually had children together. So to say ex-boyfriend, it was Kaylee just being a brat. being like, I just need a break. But Jack was in her heart, and they were close to getting back together. And that was just Kaylee being Kaylee. So absolutely, Jack is no.
We don't think he's the suspect
At all.
Wow. Ma'am, can you tell me about what the mood is like in the town? You guys have been so brave to come on the program tonight and talk about your daughter, talk about the other victims, talk about the investigation. But a lot of people that weren't even, it was your daughter that was murdered. They are afraid to come on air because they feel like they next. Are you hearing the same thing in the town?
I like her. I want to share my address and give it to you to share with them. I have no fear whatsoever of this individual. I almost welcome him to come to my house. This community has been amazing. Every day we wake up with more food than we can ever eat, donuts, things. People are giving. The whole community's crying. Everyone is hurting. Everyone feels the pain of this. That one shiny thing out of all of this is I've never realized how beautiful my community is and how much love there is there for people. We just have one bad person, and we have to find that guy.
And like my husband said, if he would like our address, we'd gladly give it to him. We'd love for him to show up.
We're not running. I'm not
We're
hiding
not
my
scared.
stuff online. It's there. You can look me up.
Christy and Steve, we continue
We can't speak for those families.
Yeah. We continue to support you
Oh wow,
guys.
that has a sliding glass
Christy and
door.
Steve, we
We
continue to
can't speak for those families.
Huh. That's basically just a walk up the hill a little bit. And that's supposedly unlocked? And law enforcement put those there, I guess.
Yeah. We
Huh.
continue to support you guys, and we want to remember your daughter's legacy tonight. What can we do in this stage of the investigation to help our audiences? We'll put the tip number up, but what can we do right now to get you guys answers?
I think we need to post this timeline because it's a small community. This is like 6,000, 7,000 people. We need to put a timeline out there where just random people can look there. People don't know, but their Teslas are filming 24/7, 7 days a week. So there could be somebody who doesn't realize that they have evidence.
Their ring cams, their phones, they were out and they were recording, and you know what? They look and, oh, what's that shady person? Look at that guy that just ran across the camera in the back. It's always those little things.
Did you get gas during the time that this activity was going
Gas
on?
stations. Did somebody go in and buy Band-Aids? Obviously they're checking hospitals for somebody going in and, we're assuming this person was wounded. We're assuming this person got hurt in this struggle, in this altercation that took place that night.
So it sounds like there's a lot of his blood, and that's why they're saying. Huh.
They possibly need stitches or were, going to Walgreens
Wow.
at 3 in the morning getting Band-Aids. These things.
We'll post that. We'll get you that timeline. You post it on your
They
site,
should have the timeline.
and that should help.
Huh.
We have that timeline. We will
Wow, this
post it up, and
interview is
anyone
more
that
telling than
is
the press
right on the
conference.
screen, if you see something, if you
So they got there at 1:45, and so did the other two. So they basically got there about the same time. That's interesting.
Anything minor, call the tip line.
Yeah,
if you're there in that area.
And thank God that they were sloppy, and that if they're saying that they should be having stitches and stuff, then you got to be able to see it. You know, cuts like that, especially if you think you need stitches, it's going to take a while for those to heal. So this ain't shit that somebody's going to be able to hide for. You know, they might be able to hide it right now because it's cold and they can wear gloves outside and all that. But when it comes to people are going to notice scars, and those cuts are going to take forever, and they're going to leave scars. If you need stitches and you don't get that taken care of, you're going to have a scar. Hell, you might even have a scar with stitches, depending on how deep it is.
Any little piece of evidence can help the authorities. I want to give y'all one last moment to tell our audience anything else.
My last thing is, if you have a daughter or even a son in that area, turn on a tracker app, share that information with your family. Don't walk around that town without everyone knowing who you are. That you have to protect yourself. We have somebody loose. I don't want to create a panic. I don't want to do anything like that. But we know what we know. There's somebody
What a good
out
message.
there. He's a psycho, and your daughter needs to share her address with you. She might not like that, but that's what you do in times like this.
That's right.
Yeah.
Christy and
exactly.
Steve, before I let y'all go, because y'all have been talking with the
Wow.
investigators,
What a message.
piece of information do y'all feel
Yeah.
is most important
I'm thinking
that could
cereal.
break this case wide open?
I'm thinking cereal.
It's all digital information, phones,
Probably a
pinging
new
off of your
cereal.
residence.
If they were that
somebody's
sloppy,
ring cams, and they're combing through that.
and I wouldn't be surprised if they threaten the other people. I know where your fucking family live. Don't talk, because I'll know from the news if you do, and that's why the police are being so hush about it. That's why they brought in the FBI, because it's something. Yeah, it might have been his first one, because maybe he thought it was just 2 people, and then it turned into 4, and it went to shit. But he was still able to do it. But he was sloppy because it went to shit. He's hiding out, but he won't be able to hide out too long. Not with those injuries. I wouldn't be surprised if it's his first one. Being that sloppy, and then all of a sudden you're running into 4 people. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Jen. If you're that sloppy. At first, when they weren't talking about, the evidence and stuff, I almost thought it was a professional. You're going to take out 4 people? Like, that's pretty ballsy. That's some Manson shit. And they had, 4 people doing it? I think this dude was surprised. I think he got caught off guard. He was new. Thank God it was sloppy. Thank God there's a lot of evidence, and I hope. With those cuts, you can't hide out too long. Somebody will notice your hands, because that's how you pay for shit. That's how you do everything, is with your hands. They may be able to hide right now, but I don't think it's going to be too long. It still could be multiple people, but I don't know. I think this dude was by himself. He didn't expect that many. He was already injured enough, so he probably knew, well, I can't fight these other two. Thank you, ATS. You know, I can't fight these other two. This is a bomb interview, ATS. I watched the press conference, and I'm telling you right now, this interview here is way more telling than that press conference. Wow, the information in this video, if you don't have it already. Holy crap. Yeah, it sounds like it's a serial, a new serial. He didn't expect to take out that many people. Shit went crazy. He ended up getting hurt, sloppy. He ain't gonna be able to hide out too long. Oh, nice. Well, you know, I'll be working and I'll be listening. Yeah, this sounds more like a serial. A new serial that it didn't go the way he thought it was gonna go. But with his injuries and the evidence and how sloppy it was from what they're saying, you ain't hiding too long. All right, there was a crime talk video on Delphi here. Do you know anything else? I know you are ATS, but you do a great job. You have to do that much editing in order to have a, you know, a really good production. Totally understand. Is there anything that you know that you want to share? In order to keep from cutting yourself, you'd have to be calm. And yeah. Well, you know, with how sloppy it was, he was probably just going for wherever, and his injuries probably came from hitting a bone or something and his hand slipping off and going into the back of the knife. With how bloody everything was, his hand would be slippery. And if it was that sloppy, you know that he wasn't methodical. You know he wasn't calm. So that's probably where his injuries came from, because there wasn't, you know, they said that they felt all the attacks happen when they were asleep. So the injuries would have to be, you would think, done from his own accord. So I could see, you know, the dude being new, hitting a bone, his hand slipping into the knife because the bone stops the momentum, but his hand still has the momentum. It goes into the back of the knife, and he's probably got cuts on the top of his hand. His pointer finger, his middle finger, maybe his thumb, or the space in between your first finger and your thumb. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of good information with the press conference, but that video right there, holy crap. That's crazy. All right, let's see what he's got on Delphi here. Oh, 1 second. And then here's the link to this video.
Found the weekly recap of the week's top stories here on Crime Talk, all located in one convenient location. Hope you enjoy it. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk.
Wow, that's crazy.
Well, the new judge in the Delphi matter is sticking to the schedule. Now, court proceedings related to the Delphi murders of Abby Williams and Libby German will remain in Carroll County. Now, the Allen Superior Judge, Fran Gull, has already started her work on the case, apparently, and she was appointed to handle the proceedings after Carroll County Circuit Judge Benjamin Diner recused himself. The Indiana Department of Corrections released photos and
Yeah, it just sounds like he's new at it. Like if it wasn't his first one, I mean, I don't know. If you're that sloppy, as sloppy as the parents were saying it was, and the injuries that they were saying he has to have, I would just assume it's got to be his first. or second, because by then you would think you would know, you would already know what you did wrong previously, and so you would know how to approach the next one. So then you would probably do some kind of research, like since if this was like his first one and he got those injuries like they say he did, I would assume if he would get away with this one, then he would kind of look up the body and the skeletal structure and things like that, because then you wouldn't want to have those kind of injuries on the next one. So I don't know. It just makes me think like it was his first. I just get those vibes, and I don't know. It just, from the beginning, it seemed like a serial, but with none of the information that was released, it just seemed to me like a stealthy professional type did it a bunch, 4 people. But after we hear this, it seems like a new guy that ended up being too much than he expected, and it just went crazy. And I bet he's fucking hiding out scared as shit, but you can only wear gloves for so long.
Richard Allen, the man obviously charged in connection with the Delphi murders. Now, diners cited concerns about his personal safety, as well as the flood of media and public inquiries about the Delphi case. And I get that. If the judge truly feels he can't be fair, he's got to do what he's got to do, which is to withdraw or to recuse himself. I'm just a little surprised that a judge would be so intimidated by something that hasn't taken place. If they treat this like any other case, what would it be? Why would somebody threaten the judge? The judge is going to follow the law, right? Just weird to me. I've seen some reports, but I can't confirm it, that his wife knew somebody that was related. I don't know. It just seems like if you're the judge, this is the biggest case that's probably happened in Indiana in many, many years. You think you'd want to be in the game, kind of the old, give me the ball, coach, put me in, that kind of stuff. But no, apparently this guy got a little scared. I'm not judging. He's got to do what he's got to do. No one's going to know. Usually, remember, ladies and gentlemen, when somebody leaves the courtroom, no matter what kind of proceeding, somebody is usually unhappy, and they're usually unhappy with the judge. So I just don't see why this case is any different than anything else that would come before this judge's docket. So the matter for Mr. Hall was set on November 22nd to determine if the sealed court records pertain to Allen went out of the public eye. Now, they should be released. I know the prosecution and the police don't want them released because it may show several years of ineptness.
Exactly.
Really, and if the police have something overwhelming, we should know. Now, hopefully, since the public defender, or at least was requested by Mr. Allen, hopefully they've at least been appointed, that they've reviewed the affidavit with him as well. But as of right now, it would appear that he may not even have access to that as well. So hopefully the information is out there. One of the things that's different from courts here in the United States and in other parts of the world is that, well, things are kept secret in other parts of the world, not here in the United States. Yes, we're not going to get all the discovery, but the affidavit is a good roadmap for the American people to see what is taking place. It's not the whole picture. I get that. But the defendant has just as much right to see what he's being charged with and what evidence he has against him. And frankly, so does the public. So
that's very true.
See. Anyway, well, Judge Gull is sticking with the November 22nd
Tuesday
date for the hearing. This has been confirmed by the Allen Superior Court clerk. And so hopefully this matter will be resolved sooner rather than later. And why is that significant? Because a lot of judges could have said, hey, we're going to do it in private. Or they could have said, we're going to continue this until after the holidays to give everybody a little bit of time. So I think it's important that the court is moving forward. I have a lot of hope for this Judge Gull. We did a show last week about her background, her time on the bench. I think she's going to be a good judge, and I think she's going to hopefully
I'll have to look for that
prosecution feet to the fire and say, we're unsealing this affidavit. Now, for those of you who do not know, On October 31st, the Indiana State Police announced the arrest of Mr. Allen, charged him with 2 counts of a homicide in connection with the Delphi case. He's been moved twice for his personal safety and is currently at an undisclosed Department of Correction facility.
He's been moved
And
twice
as I
now.
stated, police.
He's been moved twice. Oh, they're coming out today, aren't they? Holy crap. Oh, no, no. Oh my God, whoops. They're coming out today. Wow, so he's been moved twice now. And now they're not saying. Crazy. So he was moved to a Department of Corrections facility and he wasn't even safe there?
Police have not revealed how Allen is connected to the Delphi case or the potential role in the girl's death because, well, everything's been sealed. We'll continue to follow this case. Hopefully we'll have some new developments and hopefully we will have some information soon as to what the connection is with Mr. Allen. Or maybe
and I'm going to look up that judge.
Maybe they're trying to
I'm going to look up that judge video he was talking about too.
And try to figure it out now. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Well,
I
Richard
can't wait. I know.
Allen
Oh,
of Indiana, who wrote a desperate letter to the
I can't
judge
wait.
earlier this month.
I think it's
begging for
2
help from a
o'clock
public defender.
Central.
He said, quote, "I'm begging to be provided with legal assistance in a public defender or whatever help is
And I
available."
bet
Mr. Allen wrote in a letter to the court at his
you have to have a lot of enemies when you do what you did, you know, especially in prison, because there's a lot of people in prison that ain't able to see their kids anymore, whether they did the crime or not, or whatever. You know, there's still people in prison that aren't able to see their kids. So when somebody else does that, they, you know, it's a personal, very personal thing inside.
initial appearance on October 28th, Mr. Allen asked
Any crime against children, for that matter.
To find representation that he would pay for himself. However, at the time, he had no clue how expensive it would be just to talk to someone, not to mention hire somebody on a double homicide case. Well, the court has appointed Andrew Joseph Baldwin of Baldwin.
All right, I think we already watched this part. So I'm sorry I'm jumping around a little bit tonight. I'm just kind of going as updates are coming out on my sub list. So we're going to switch back to the University of Idaho real quick. I'm going to like that, and then we're going to go ahead and see what they came out with about 20 minutes ago.
We begin with a Fox News alert. The parents of one of the 4 murdered University of Idaho students are speaking out to Fox News and standing behind her ex-boyfriend, who she called minutes before she was murdered. The 4 were stabbed to death while sleeping in their beds. And the Moscow police chief now says when officers arrived at the home, there were no signs of forced entry. Police also revealing the 911 was made about 9 hours after the killing came from one of the roommates' cell phones. Police previously cleared the roommates of any wrongdoing. Kaylee Gonsalves's ex-boyfriend, Jack, was identified as the person she called 10 times the night she was killed.
10 times?
Here are
What?
her parents on Lawrence Jones cross
You hear 6, you hear 7, you hear 10.
We love Jack. Absolutely love Jack.
Okay, we just heard that.
Jack 1000%.
Wow, what a video.
Jack was Kaylee's boyfriend for
So much
many
information in that
years.
video
They just
from those
recently
parents.
broke up. There was no animosity at all. It was a breakup on Kaylee's point. It was not, they still talked every single day. Kaylee just thought that she needed a little, they're wasting their time with Jack. And
What a video.
And Jack is just as distraught as we are. Jack is our family. Jack is 100%, 2000% our family.
Okay, wow. So that was the parents seemingly clearing the ex-boyfriend. And first of all, how brave of these people to speak out, to come on television and talk about this.
I bet the police were like, oh my gosh, why did you say all that? Because they didn't say anything about that in that press conference. And if you guys want to watch either the press conference or the parents interview again, just let me know and we can.
You know,
After this, I have
they
that judge
talked
interview with
about
Crime Talk.
there being so much evidence that police are looking at, from evidence within the house and even outside of the house. And I want to play a little bit more sound from the parents talking about all of the evidence police are looking at. Let's listen.
They're telling us that there's so much evidence that it's going to take a lot of time to process it all.
Wow.
A pinpoint crime. This person was sloppy.
They have not confirmed that they have DNA from this person. They just said that they have a ton of evidence. It's all digital information.
Why didn't they let
phones
him finish?
pinging
Because he
off
had a
their
lot of
residence,
information.
Somebody's ring cams, and they're combing through that, and obviously physical evidence was from the inside the house.
Okay,
Like he said, more
Sean, I wanna
information
go to
than
you
she
on
did.
this because you touched on this yesterday when we talked about this. You talked about the cell phone activity that could be key. Now, we know the FBI is assisting the Idaho State Police and the local police, and they are very good at analyzing this cell phone data. What do you think they can glean?
Well, no, they are good. And so you look at the Moscow Police Department, even the State Police Department of Idaho, you want expertise. You want people who do this every single day. I mean, Jimmy tells jokes every day. He's good at it. I don't. I mean, when you do things over and over again, you become proficient. And so to bring the FBI in as the experts, again, I think they're going to do a better job of looking at evidence that the state police and the local police may not be thinking about. And again, we talk about the cell phones and the video cameras, looking for DNA. That really matters, and that expertise, I think, is going to make sure that we get a conclusion of this case. And for me, I look at what's been talked about, this crime of passion. I think that matters. You have 4 deceased victims. There's a pool of people that we're going to pull from. There's only that many people that will have passion that can commit a crime like this. It's about narrowing that pool down and figuring out who was the criminal.
Yeah, and as a former state
I think
prosecutor,
he was just brand new.
you know the things that they're looking at. What do
Or
you guys think about
recently new.
the family all but clearing the ex-boyfriend? Nicole, let me ask you about that.
You know, I think it's interesting. Obviously, they showed their support for this gentleman. They said that their daughter was in a relationship
Yeah, but you can be blinded by love too.
with them for many years, so they feel that they got to know him, felt very close, could never fathom that he would do something such as that. The fact that she did call him so many times that night certainly doesn't implicate him as the suspect. If she knows him very well, you know, why was she calling him? Were there voicemails? Was she calling him because she was scared of something and she wanted his help? Or was it late night and she missed this person and was wanting to call him over and over? So I think looking into that a little bit more, you know, obviously this is a tragedy. And one of the things that, you know, the mother said that she had talked to her earlier in the day and she sounded that she was fine. You know, there wasn't anything that she didn't sound in distress. She was having a good day. We saw the pictures. She was at the food truck. So she was obviously okay through the afternoon, through the evening, early into the morning. It wasn't until something happened once she was home. And so as they're sifting through all this evidence, it will take some time, but I think we will be getting a lot more answers in the days and weeks to come.
Yeah, and you mentioned that she had spoken to her daughter just the day before, and she talked about that
What's
last
up, Savage?
night
Hop on over to
on
YouTube,
Lawrence
man.
Jones' program. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
Kaylee called me on Saturday. My birthday was earlier in the week, and said, Mom, I'll be home on Tuesday, and I'm going to take you out to breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's all on me, and we'll celebrate your birthday. And I said, Well, I don't know if I believe that, meaning she'd pay. But that sounds great, Kaylee.
Oh,
And
you're good, bud.
and
Thanks for hopping in,
I'll
man.
see you on Tuesday, honey. And then she sent me a couple pictures of her and Maddie.
Yeah, wow. So she,
Yeah.
to your point, she didn't sound like a young girl in distress.
It's a good
over
stream,
anything.
man, from
Jimmy,
the
what are your
get-go. A
thoughts
lot of
on that?
information
I
is
mean,
out
I'm optimistic from the standpoint
about
that
all three of
police are
these.
saying there's a lot of evidence, you know, be it DNA, be it digital. I'm optimistic that we'll finally get some answers. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm frustrated that we don't have them already. Because again, it is a narrow pool who would commit this crime. There is a lot of known information at this point, meaning if there is digital evidence, they have it. It doesn't take a week to get it. If the crime scenes, heaven forbid, are sloppy, they have that DNA evidence as well. So, you know, from an optimistic standpoint, I mean, and there's certainly nothing upbeat about the story. You want to believe we're less than 24 to 48 hours from some type of a direction. Because personally, it's
Right?
surprising if this went on.
Because you can only wear gloves for so long, and the new week's starting tomorrow. People got to work. You know, you got to. Somebody's going to see it. Somebody's got to notice the injuries here. I don't. 24 to 48. That's gutsy. But somebody's got to notice here soon. Especially with those kind of injuries where the mom's like, you know, they probably need stitches.
On the 12th of November, and we're sitting here over a week later, knowing how quickly they can geotag phones, knowing how quickly they can turn around DNA evidence. You know, you want to believe we'd have something by now. And my only guess is maybe they do, but they're just trying to make this case concrete before they bring it forward, is what I want to believe.
You know, I think it's interesting
Man,
too.
this is some good
Former
information today.
LAPD Detective Mark Furman indicated that he talked to a student on
Even about
campus
Miss
where
Robinson.
Kaylee had a
Thank you
stalker
for
that
that,
she had talked about a
Jen
couple
K.
months ago. Obviously, that's a person of interest. It's a rarity that you have someone stalk you on campus. If that person existed, obviously that would be a key suspect that you'd want to speak to if you're law enforcement.
Well, and one of the things recently in today's era is social media. And so they're combing through not only Kaylee's social media, but her friends and those around her, who's liking her posts. And, you know, obviously being a mother thinking about this is very upsetting. So she just bought a new car. She was getting ready to go backpacking all across Europe. She was obviously making money somehow. So they're going to be looking at everything, the friends, the social media, but also, you know, where is she working? These are all going to be persons of interest. So I think the pool is very broad when it started, and hopefully they are able to narrow it down at this point.
Well, and to the point of this possible stalker mentioned by former LAP detective Mark Furman, the parents did talk last night about how aware Kaylee was of her safety on campus and off campus. We have a clip of that sound too. Let's listen to that.
Our son went to that college. No, absolutely not.
My daughter was aware of her environment.
Very aware.
She turned her camera on.
And Mel Mac sent me something in regards to Miss Robinson's case as well. I'm going to switch to Alexandra Duggan's latest tweet after this about this case. Then we'll go to the Miss Robinson link from Mel Mac, and then I'm going to come back to Crime Talk, and we'll check out this judge that's handling the Delphi case. We'll go ahead and put that at the end.
She would film when she thought somebody was following her out of a mall parking lot or a grocery store.
I mean, she would think somebody was following her, and she would call me and say, "Mom, I think there's somebody following me." And I'm like, "Well, Kaylee, call the police," you know. And then she'd say, "Oh, never mind," you know. Just, I mean, she was aware, you know, and very aware.
Kelt, good evening. And I know when I heard Mark Furman in the first place a few days ago, I was like, the same Mark Furman from OJ? Hello, I've been watching since the beginning. Oh, I appreciate that. So I was talking to the cashier too? And I'm sorry if, I know we just watched this interview on the previous video, but this is a lot of good information. And when it comes to this kind of information, I like hearing it a couple times because, you really, there's some things you might hear that you think you hear, but then it just kind of clears all the cobwebs out. And I have so much written down about this now with this press conference that came out. I still need to write stuff down about the parents interview because this stuff is just bombshell, the stuff that they're saying. And at least we're starting to get some kind of idea. And at least with the press conference today, we kind of got a decent amount of information out of that too. Who's not involved, who they don't believe is involved, what they'll admit to, what they won't admit to, what they're still leaving open. Like the thing at the end of the press conference about them not knowing the second floor and the third floor, they're not saying who was on what because all of those are key pieces to what comes into play later on, which I thought was an interesting statement. And then also that they still don't know why the two roommates were alive when the other four were deceased. So I thought those were two really interesting parts of that press conference. And then with this parents interview, wow, such a ton of information. And I don't even know if the police are like upset about that, but I mean, it's like I feel bad for him, but at the same time, when you hear the dad at the end of it, when they ask the parents, what would you like to say, at the end of their interview, and what the dad says was just so amazing because he's like, get your daughters to have tracks on their phone, track apps. What's up, buddy? Nice. Get your daughters to have track apps, whether they're upset with you or not. You know, what a great message to the community, what this dad says. And I hope they end this video with this because it's something that needs to be said again.
Anita, one thing that really struck me when I heard that last night on Lawrence Jones was, did she have people who we had heard about a stalker? Was she having people who were following her? I mean, how far back does this actually go? And what is this as random and as they're making it seem?
Well, that's a great question.
Well, I hear her talk about her daughter being safety conscious, and calling her if someone's following her. Listen, my daughter's the same way. And you get a sense of relief maybe that your child is conscious of their surroundings. And then this happens, it takes away that maybe a blanket of security a parent feels that you've taught your kids to be concerned about everything that's happening around them. And this can happen to them in the comfort of their home.
Yeah. Well, still so many more questions, and police are expected to hold a press conference later today. So perhaps we'll get more information, perhaps some answers, and, hopefully soon.
Hey, Sean.
Since you're new to YouTube, I'm going to throw up some other creator links up there. And these creator links, if you're into the crime stuff, amazing content creators, ATS News, and it's going to take me a few. I got a few of them to throw up there. And then if, go ahead and tap these links, bro. Go ahead and sub to them. And then go ahead and hop back in here. Let me see here. And we're going to adjust to serve daily for sure as well. Sorry about the pause here. Let me put some music on for a second. Get that funky beat back. Some Daft Punk, Imposters. And then you got Crazy Crime Chick. We watched a little bit of her video earlier. Yes, definitely follow all these, Nitro. They do amazing work. I just get into it a little bit. Okay, so there's that. Let's switch to what Alexandra Duggan tweeted here, and then I'm gonna go to what Mel Mac sent me earlier today. Thank you again, Mel Mac, for that. Or Sticks. I don't know, man. I'm not really a Sticks guy. I don't know. I'm just not really a Sticks guy. Sorry if that upsets anybody, but just being honest. The International Brotherhood of Police Officers Local 486 represents approximately 240 police officers and sergeants that serve the citizens of Boise. Our union members are the large majority of frontline personnel for the Boise Police Department. We are all astonished and infuriated by the utterly detestable views, writing, and comments made by a former captain of the huh? We don't yet have all of the right words, but okay, of who? Former captain of the Boise Police Department. Oh, I'm classic rock too, man. I'm just not a Sticks guy. We don't yet have all of the right words, but we want to promptly and unequivocally condemn his racist words and actions. What? I never heard nothing about this. I thought this was something to do with the actual case. I'm sorry. All right, so let's go to what Mel Max sent me here. I thought it was a video. The ads. Isn't it a video? What is... Wow, 300,000. That's good. I'm glad that her family... Man, ATS? I don't know. Jen K came in with some freaking crazy information about this case. Oh, here it is. Yeah, some crazy information. Alright, I don't know why I have an advertisement, because I pay for YouTube to not have advertisements. Yeah, this info.
Respect, 25-year-old Shanquila Robinson. The FBI and
I'll find out.
City News, it's now opened an investigation into the.
I'll find out the timestamp, or Jen K. I'll find out the timestamp, and then I'll message it to you, ATS, and then you can just go right to that part. It's maybe like 10, 15 minutes. Crazy information. I love that emoji.
Young
All
woman's
right,
death.
let's see what.
Authorities in Cabo,
Whoa.
Mexico say Shanquila.
Wait. Okay, what? Hold on. It says child killed during parade, but then it's huh?
Friends who were on vacation with her lied to them, saying she died of alcohol poisoning. The autopsy shows Shanquila died of a severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, which is instability in the upmost vertebrae.
It hit the community hard because, you know, anybody that asked the question, that could have been mine. That could have
Oh,
been my
thank you. I
child.
appreciate it.
And we have to support one another to get
All right, I'm
support.
gonna go
We have
back
to.
just a little bit so I can avoid the copy.
Atlas luxation, which is instability in the upmost vertebrae.
It hit the community hard because, you know, anybody.
Okay, ATS, did you know that there was 3 people that assaulted her? And the final one grabbed her by her head and body slammed her.
Asked the question, that could have been mine. That could have been my child. And
You know, I thought I saw that, Kelt, on the news page or whatever, but I never really was into the Power Rangers, so I thought maybe that's what it was because they had like holding up some weird looking mask. It's sad to hear though. Weren't they like starting to do? Weren't they starting to do like a new Power Rangers thing or something? Yeah, yeah. It wasn't just the one video. That was the first assault. Then somebody came in and assaulted her, and then somebody else came in and did the final, and that's the one that took her head and body slammed her into the. Yeah. Oh wow, I'm sorry to hear that's how it happened, Savage. Yeah. Yeah. Jen said she'll get the timestamp. Yeah, it's and then there's another video after that that, you know, of course, like text messages can be fake and stuff, but it's very interesting the story that's being put out there. And the amount of it's, you know, obviously it's not, we don't know, but the story that is being put out there by this person that read these messages is very interesting. So that I think it had to have, I think that's maybe she was just so she had been assaulted so much she just didn't have any energy in her. And yeah, I mean, you could see that, you could see like she was already getting hit in those areas already from the first female. But this video goes through which one did what and when, and explains the timeline of the whole assault and everything. It was some crazy bomb information from Gen K.
we have to support one another to get support. We have to first start off here as a family and then grow to be a bigger family.
A viral video surfaced this week showing Robinson being violently beaten. Police in Mexico tell Queen City News the investigation into Shanquila's death remains open. And Queen City News will continue to bring you the latest breaking details in this case.
Yeah, those are still shots from the first assault. Yeah, Savage. And then to hear there was 2 recordings, one from a female and one from a male, and to hear I only heard the male recording, and his voice during the whole thing is just, it's disgusting. People change after COVID. I wonder if we will go back to silver. I don't know, man. It seems like every day the world is just getting crazier and crazier and crazier. I mean, hell, look at these cases now. It's like one after another is just crazier, crazier, crazier. Debbie Collier, you know, Idaho, Delphi. I mean, all of them. Hell, Watts was crazy, but that was pretty obvious what happened, other than if there was other people involved or not. That's always up for debate, but it was pretty to the point. But like Summer Wells, that, the trail cam with video of 4 people and then 3 people coming back from the woods, and it's been how long since she's been missing, and you got Michael Vaughn, like that's it's just crazy after crazy after crazy, and it's just everywhere. That's why I wish they would have played it at the end of that video that we just watched from the parents, that they split the interview that they spliced up, because I wish they would have ended it with what the dad had to say, because he had a great message in that video, going out to the community, going out to parents everywhere, no matter where you're at in this world. A zombie apocalypse with COVID. I know. It feels like I almost feel like I had a COVID these last couple weeks. And I'm like at 90% now. I'll probably be 100 tomorrow. I feel like I will be. Yeah, I don't know. I think what I'll do is I'll end this stream with what that dad had to say. I'll go back to that video and play it again, because what he had to say should be, from this point on, it's something that should be repeated everywhere, especially from a parent to their child. If they're going to give them a hard case about, having trackers and stuff, they don't need to know about the case and the injuries and stuff like that. Just what the dad's saying, just from what the dad says. There's no graphic pictures. There's no talk of evidence in what he says. It's just a great message that I think I should end the stream. When I end the stream, I think I should do that. So, all right. So that was from Melmac. I appreciate it. So let's go ahead and switch to this judge here, and we'll learn a little more about this judge in the Delphi case.
Rich people have problems. A son of the year contender, and yes, I'm being facetious. And then finally, our dumb criminal. The reason why the Carroll County judge disqualified himself from this case isn't exactly known to the public. That information must be given to the newly appointed special judge, but the public, well, we may never find out exactly why the judge did it. It is common for a judge to recuse themselves if, in fact, there is an actual conflict. Okay. If a judge, for example, in the federal courts has a financial interest in any case, they must disqualify themselves. If for some reason there is a close relationship between the judge and maybe one of the prosecutors or defense attorney in the case, that has to be disclosed, and it could be a basis for disqualification. But for a judge to disqualify himself, he has to say, I just don't think that I can be fair and impartial. I've never heard of a judge say, I don't want to take this case because it's going to be high profile. I could be put under scrutiny. I've never had a judge do that. And most judges are quite candid with it. There was a judge that I did many, many trials in front of. I actually represented a relative of theirs. And every time we start a trial, the judge would call the prosecutor up and say, I just want to be known that, Mr. Reich may have represented so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's like, oh, fine, that's great. Because I don't think the judge gave me any special treatment. If anything, he probably went the other way. Sure, it didn't look like that he was being giving me any favors whatsoever, which he never did. He was a great judge. He called balls and strikes, wasn't swaying to one side or the other. So now we have Judge Fran Gull from Allen County, and she is taking over the Delphi murder case in regards to the death of Abby Williams and Libby German. And it's unlikely that she is going to disqualify herself, because she appears as though under the Code of Judicial Conduct, there's no good reason for her to do that. Like I said, high profile, high scrutiny. Maybe if the judge knows a witness, but they don't think they can be impartial, that's very odd. So like I said, a lot of times it comes down to, hey, I worked with this person at a law firm. I have a financial connection in this case, or I'm just biased. But if the judge is saying, hey, I'm biased, which he kind of did when he said, this lust for information that the judge said. He really kind of said, I just don't want any part of this circus that's coming this way. Like I said, it is up to the judge if you have to disqualify yourself, but only if it's warranted. You have a duty to preside when disqualification isn't warranted. For example, if a judge looks at a situation saying, boy, this is a political hot case and I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this, I don't want to sit in this case, that's not appropriate. Okay, judges are there to supposedly make the hard decisions, to do what they have to do. So now the ball is in the court for the Honorable Frances C. Gull. So what do we know about Frances C. Gull? And I just didn't even notice. Frances C. Gull. Well, she served as a judge in the Allen Superior Court since January of 1997, and she was first elected judge in 1996, and she's been reelected for that position 4 times. For more than 20 years, Judge Gull has served apparently as an administrative judge of Superior Court's Criminal Division, overseeing the day-to-day operations of 6 criminal courts, including the misdemeanor and traffic and felony courts. So what that tells me is that she is the presiding judge over the criminal judges in that particular county. Usually that goes to a senior judge, which she would be in this case because she's been on the bench for 25 years. And so, like I said, during that 25 years, judges apparently has gained statewide and national recognition in areas including jury management, restorative justice, and the use of technology in the courts. She's been honored several times for her contribution to the criminal justice system, including she received the 2015 G. Thomas Munsterman Award for Jury Innovation, presented by the National Center for State Courts. And since June of 2002, Judge Gull has supervised Allen County's nationally renowned drug court program, the program which promotes recovery for addiction and restoration of families torn apart by substance abuse. And then in 2020, the program was approaching nearly 1,000 graduates, making it among one of the most.
Well, before you go to sleep, prayers and good luck tomorrow. And if you're able to and you feel well enough and you're available, hop on tomorrow night and let us know how it goes. Scottish Queen prayers.
Most successful and impactful in the country. Now, Judge Gull, we know that she received her bachelor's degree in political science from St. Joseph's College in 1980, and she received her law degree, a Juris Doctor, from the Valparaiso University School of Law in 1983. And I have to say, I've never heard of this law school, but it is in Indiana, and it looks reputable. Anyway, it's an accredited law school. After receiving her law degree, Judge Gull began her career in the Allen Superior Court, serving as a law clerk in the Family and Criminal Divisions in 1983 and 1984. And then prior to becoming a judge from 1987 to 1996, Judge Gull served as the Allen County Prosecutor's Office, where she was a chief deputy prosecutor, a role in which she served from 1990 until her election to the bench. In the prosecution's office, she also served as the chief counsel, criminal division, deputy prosecuting attorney.
Dude, pizza sounds so good right now. I haven't had pizza for months.
She was in the sex crimes unit and the section chief of the felony division. In the prosecutor's office, Judge Gull prosecuted hundreds of offenders. In the sex crimes unit, she was responsible for cases of sexual assault, women and children, and later as section chief in the major felonies division. Her trial schedule expanded to include robbery, burglary, arson, battery, and other serious felony offenses. As the chief counsel and then chief deputy, she was responsible for the prosecution of all homicides, high-profile felony cases, arson investigations, and cases involving political figures. So it sounds like she has all the qualifications
and political figures. Dude, that's awesome. And political figures, which I think some are involved. I don't know if this is like related or not, but it was kind of interesting because I got to see all the election results, that they had for all the counties and all that stuff. And it was crazy. I just, because it was when I was getting ready in the morning for work, and I was just kind of like half listening. But when I kept hearing how many people were not running for re-election, it just stuck out to me. I was like, why do I keep hearing this person isn't running for re-election and this person isn't running for re-election? And I haven't heard of so many people not running for re-election in my life. Maybe one or two, maybe one, maybe two. But this was a handful. It was just odd to me. Not saying it's connected, but it's just interesting. Like all these other sex rings in these other neighboring states are getting busted now in the last month. It's just interesting.
And of a good judge. And it seems like she's going to be ready to go. Now, what I said the other day was that there are no coincidences in criminal law. Okay. And is it a coincidence that an Indiana judge dropped multiple charges against a man accused of talking to one of the slain Delphi girls on the day she was murdered? Remember Keegan Kline? We've talked about him.
This is an old video. This is so when it comes to this stuff, this is 12 days ago. There was already a report that LE said that the search in the river was connected to the Delphi case. They weren't supposed to release that information. They asked the superintendent, and he said that unfortunately they have some people that are in a position to release that kind of information, but that it wasn't somebody that's in their circle. It's somebody that is underneath their circle that released that information, but he didn't deny it. So this is 12 days old when it comes to this stuff right here. I just want to let everybody know that.
So, because he'd been linked to the case of Libby German and Abby Williams since his arrest back in 2020. Now, for those unfamiliar, the girls were murdered on Valentine's Day of 2017 in Delphi, Indiana.
I can't
after
wait.
Taking a hiking trip
And
on an abandoned Monon.
Savage, since you just hopped in here to YouTube, make sure you follow ATS because she's got some really good content, and she's going to be coming out with something tomorrow morning.
High Bridge. Now, Kline allegedly confessed to investigators back in 2020 that he used a fake profile and photos to elude.
And by the way, if you like classic rock, she's got some stuff on Kurt Cobain, buddy. Definitely go check her out.
Lure underage girls via a social media app. He also admitted that he spoke with Libby on both Instagram and Snapchat just before her death. An Indiana judge dismissed counts against Kline days after police arrested Richard Allen on the Delphi case. Now, Allen has been charged with obviously the 2 counts of murder in connection with the girl's death, and prosecutors filed a motion last week asking for some of Kline's charges to be dropped, which included the 30 counts of sexual exploitation involving a child. Another request has been reportedly filed to downgrade the remaining charges as well. The prosecutor apparently said there's insufficient evidence to prove said counts beyond a reasonable doubt. Technically, they can't do it. And yes, prosecutors have an ethical obligation to dismiss the counts that they don't think that they can ethically obtain a conviction upon. But the timing is very coincidental, isn't it? Coincidence. So court.
Okay, so that sounds like that's all that is about for that. So let me check my subscription list here real quick. Let's see. We'll just kind of go through it together. Latest from Moscow, that's 19 minutes ago. Caught surveillance, still. Okay. And then we just watched that one. Here's what, oh no, we didn't, but pretty close to it. Yeah. All right, so we will go, where's that at? There's this News Nation one, but they're just gonna probably Let's see. I'd rather go to the local news because I think News Nation is probably just going to repeat what we've already heard a couple times already. Yeah, I stay away from politics too because I really don't know that much about politics. I mean, I know about conspiracies and and some political stuff, but when it comes to like different countries and relations of different countries with our, well, I really don't. I can't even speak on it enough where I know a little about it. So whatever my opinion would be coming from a very misunderstood point of view. So I just stick to what I know or what I have studied, because hell, ever since I was younger, I was watching crime shows. It's just 4 or 5 years ago is when I started getting into the YouTube. I had already watched all the other stuff and came across ATS News and CDT, and then I was like, wow, you're really getting into it. And I'm going to go ahead and I think I threw it up there already, but I'm going to put it up there again, CDT. Sorry that I missed her stream. I'll have to go back and watch it tonight. Let's see, I agree politics. Just all the way over there in sheepland with grass and hay and flat. I'm just playing. I know there's hills and there's goats and there's houses and fences and buildings and all that good stuff. I know, I'm just playing. All right, let's see what they say here.
Tonight, Creme 2's Janelle Finch is joining us live in Moscow with more of what we learned in that press conference from earlier today. Janelle. 1 week ago, I stood here and told you about how Moscow police were investigating a home near the University of Idaho's campus where they found 4 people dead. In the last week, we've learned who those 4 people were, how they were killed, and the friends and family they left behind. Today, more investigators were here at the house. According to Moscow police, since opening its tip line, the department has received over 600 calls
Yes,
and
Jen.
conducted over 90 interviews with people who may know something about the case. New at the press conference today, we've learned there may be other people at the house when officers arrived Sunday at 12 p.m. Police have shared the 911 call came from one of the 2 roommates' cell phones inside the house, but Chief James Fry says he will not disclose the identity of the caller. However, he does not believe the caller is the killer or one of the killers. He says the department has ruled out several individuals who could have been involved in the crime.
Wow,
We
I
do
haven't seen
not
a Sinclair since I
believe
lived in
the
Ohio.
following individuals are involved in this crime. The 2 surviving roommates. A male seen
Sinclair's used to have a big old dinosaur out in front of it. It was funny.
at the grub truck food vendor downtown, specifically
Exactly,
wearing
Scottish
a
Queen.
white hoodie.
It is sad though,
A
Nitro.
private
Very sad.
party who
And it's gone on
provided
too long.
rides home to Kaylee and Madison in the early morning hour of November 13th.
In addition, we learned Maddie and Kaylee also made calls to a man. Chief Fry later said the man is also not believed to be involved. Sunday, people put up posters in the neighborhood where the crime happened, encouraging people to call police with tips. With still no suspect in custody, the posters say any information, big or small, could be the difference in bringing justice. We also heard from the University of Idaho President Scott Green today at the presser. He says the university has upped its internal security as well as brought in Idaho State patrols to monitor campus. He says the university is also preparing for students to be away from campus be away from campus through the end of the semester. And he will be providing updates to Vandal families with more university information later this week. Live in Moscow, Janelle Finch, KRMT News.
Oops. All right. And let me check it again, but I think that's pretty much it for, I'm sure there's going to be more stuff coming out through the evening, but it's probably all just going to be speculation and all that stuff. We had our facts from earlier, the parents interview, which was crazy, and then the press conference before that. The second time I played the press conference, I slowed it down a little bit, and we kind of, from different videos, listened to the parents bomb information. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go back to this video here, and I'm going to play what the dad had to say for
We
the,
need to post timeline because there's
because I think I think it just needs to be said at the end here. And then I'm going to go ahead and end the stream for the evening. Thank you guys for hanging out with me for so long. Another 3-hour show. And thanks for all the information from everybody. This stream is a very informative stream today. And really, it was from the links and everything that I got. And I appreciate that. So let's find out where this guy starts.
We continue to support you guys. And
I think it's
we
about
want to
right here.
remember your daughter's legacy tonight. What can we do in this stage of the investigation
Exactly,
to
Jen.
help our
Because
audience?
this is a safe place,
tip
you know.
number up, but what can we do right now to get you guys answers?
I think we need to post this timeline because it's a small community. This is like 6,000-7,000 people. We need to put a timeline out there where just random people can look there. I mean, people don't know, but their Teslas are filming 24/7, 7 days a week. So there could be somebody who doesn't realize that they have evidence.
Their ring cams, their phones, they were out and they were recording, and you know what? They look and, oh, what's that shady person? Look at that guy that just ran across the camera in the back.
Oh, my bad. I thought it was just the
That
dad
little
talking there,
thing.
and then it was
Get
the mom.
gas during the time that this activity was going
Gas
on.
stations. Is somebody going in and buy Band-Aids? I mean, obviously they're checking
Or no,
hospitals for
this
somebody
isn't
going
the
in
ending
and,
message.
we're assuming this person was wounded. We're assuming this person got hurt.
I think it's
and,
here. I'm sorry.
Somebody's ring cams, and they're combing through that, and obviously physical evidence from the inside the house.
If you have a router and you know you're within walking distance of this address,
Yes.
that happened, turn that into the evidence. Don't make them go find it. You give it to them. You
And your
reach out to them.
neighbor, because if he had his phone in his pocket, his walking, those phones are so close, his phone was trying to connect to those internets as he's walking through. If he had his phone, she, we're just assuming it's
Ooh, that's a good.
Just let people,
You could have
let
evidence
the
and not know.
authorities know. My
Wow.
Wi-Fi is available to you. If you want to search, like, don't make it hard, don't make it difficult. Don't make search warrants have to be gotten and to search for this. Just say, hey, I'm Kaylee and Maddie's neighbor.
I never thought about that, and I don't remember her saying that about how the homes are so close together, and if he had his Wi-Fi turned on for his phone, it would have been connecting to all these other networks as he's walking by. Whoa, I never even thought of that.
Check my Wi-Fi. Check
How did
my
I miss
Spectrum account,
that?
my Verizon account, whatever.
Wow.
You could be the key. You really could be the key.
Yeah.
Christian.
And I would think that the FBI is doing that, but
But it takes time.
Okay,
You
where in
volunteer instantly.
Christian, Steve, you have been legacy tonight. What can we do in this stage of the investigation to help our audience?
1,000 people. We need to put a timeline out.
Ring cams, they're
During the time.
that took place that night. You know,
We'll post that. We'll get
area. Any little piece of evidence can help the authorities. I want to give y'all one last moment to tell our audience anything else.
Okay, here it is, I think.
My last thing is, if you have a daughter or even a son in that area, turn on a tracker app. Share that information with your family. Don't walk around that town without everyone knowing who you are. That you have to protect yourself. We have somebody loose. I don't want to create a panic. I don't want to do anything like that. But we know what we know. There's somebody out there. He's a psycho, and your daughter needs to share her address with you. She might not like that, but that's what you do in times like this.
That's right. Christian Steve.
And that's well said right there, especially for that area, but for any daughter or any son. You know, it's 2022, about to be 2023. It's crazy out there. 3-hour stream. Scottish Queen, I had a 4-hour and something one last night. Had a 4-hour and one something last night. I've been trying to hit 3 hours, you know. And if we don't, we don't. But usually with those 3 hours, most of the time I feel like I'm ending it early. And I wanted to get on earlier today for Scottish Queen, just in case she wanted to hop in a little earlier today. Plus, I wanted to be a little early for that press conference, kind of dissect it, and then go with my subscriptions from there. And, you know, however long it takes is however long it takes. But I think it was a very productive 3 hours. Great information provided, great information acquired. I don't change times all day. All right, I'm gonna make this clear. I try, you know, 6:45, 7 o'clock during the week. Well, I should say Monday through Saturday. And that was pretty good. There's only a couple times I bumped it back 5 minutes. Last night I bumped it back 15 because I didn't even know. I didn't even know what. I didn't even know if I was gonna be doing a stream. I just needed to. I don't know. And then today, yes. I changed it a few times because when I set the time this morning, and then I noticed that some other people were doing stuff around the same time that I like to watch. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'll sit and I'll chill and I'll listen to that and then I'll just kind of bump mine back. I mean, the press conference wasn't coming out until 5 o'clock my time anyway. And so that's why I just picked 4:45, because I'm like, well, it's going to be, you know, quite a while since the other one started. And I figured it'd be a decent time. And then I just play the press conference on delay out of respect for the news channel. And then I changed it a few times today. It was my only day that I did it. And it's a Sunday. And last Sunday I did a stream at 2 or 3, and then I got back on later that night. And I'm like, well, I don't want to kind of get on twice a day, so maybe I'll just wait till a little later in the afternoon, start my stream around 5 then, and then I'll just have a few hours stream, and then it's Sunday. Got to go to work tomorrow, so, you know, it's one of those lazy days. It's a Sunday lazy day, so I'll do my streams a little earlier on a Sunday. Plus, you know, for Scottish Queen. And yeah, you got to rewatch it. I'm telling you, the information in the beginning is just crazy. It's crazy, especially with Miss Robinson's case. I'm just going to be calling her Miss from now on because I just want to treat her with some extra respect there. I'm just playing. Normally I wouldn't have noticed, but I had down day. Yeah. I know. I apologize. I went from like 2 to 2:30 to like 3:30 to 4, then to 4:45 or something. But I don't think I changed it that many times, because there was a couple times that I changed it, and then like 2 seconds later I changed it to another time. So I know I didn't change the time that much for you guys. Well, usually you start at 6:45 p.m., which makes it 12:45 a.m. for me, so you can't go mixing shit up. I'll put my schedule on there. It's Monday through Saturday. Saturdays are going to be maybe, but at least Monday through Friday for sure. 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. If, we have enough stories coming out or whatever. And then Saturday here in the future is just going to be maybe an afternoon, a morning, or an evening, or not. Sunday is the chill day, hanging back, relax. So it'll be an afternoon stream on Sunday. So there you go, Scottish Queen. There's the schedule. Yes, a lot of good info for sure. And again, Jen, thank you so much for that information today. That was very awesome. It was 5:45 for me today. Yeah, I'm Central Time Zone. I'm in a weird spot. But thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for helping me out. It was good dissecting stuff. A lot of good stuff today. A lot of progress. And that's the good thing about today. There's a lot of progress in all of this stuff. Plus, it was nice to know about how the qualifications of this judge in the Delphi case. That was awesome. But it's I'm about to get warm here. I might do some gaming on Twitch. Since I'm actually bringing that up, let me put this up there. If anybody's a gamer, drop your gamer platform in chat or a message on a replay. I play a lot of cross-platform. It was nice. I got on Fortnite last night. I hadn't even played it for like it's probably been longer than 3 weeks. Cherry, if you're in the chat, do you remember when the last time I played Fortnite was? I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 months. And I got on last night, played one match, got the rust off, and then that second match, I got the win, baby. Beautiful, too. Some sneaky shit. I didn't have to knock off much rust. Yeah, it does. But thank you guys so much. I can't wait for your stream, ATS, tomorrow. I'll be there, and I'll be trying to support every way I can while I'm at work. And good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. All right. Yeah. Have a good evening. Peaceful and positive as always. We got to get warm tonight. Jeez, it's freezing.